the thing, my friend.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
At the LASIK Vision Institute, we know LASIK is a big decision, and every one of our patients is unique. That's why we customize your LASIK journey to you.
I only have a certain budget.
No problem. Right now at the LASIK Vision Institute, get 20% off LASIK when treated in April. That can be over $900 off when treating both eyes, plus guaranteed financing options. So visit GetLVILASIK.com today to start your journey towards 20/20 vision. Must mention this promotion and be treated in April of 2024 to qualify. 20% off standard price of wave light procedure. Cannot be combined with any other offers. Go to GetLVILASIK.com for details. At the LASIK Vision Institute, we know LASIK is a big decision, and every one of our patients is unique. That's why we customize your LASIK journey to you.
I'm so busy right now.
We offer a mix of convenient days and times, including 30-minute virtual appointments to fit your schedule.
I would love it, but I have astigmatism.
We treat thousands of patients with astigmatism every month with great outcomes. The LASIK Vision Institute is making your journey towards 20/20 vision all about you. So visit GetLVILASIK.com today to start your LASIK journey.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop-up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you. See you, see you.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Ready to stand out, Army ROTC prepares you not only as a college student, but as a strong leader, allowing you to earn the rank of second lieutenant. You will be eligible for full tuition merit-based scholarships and develop leadership skills essential for your future. Start strong and enhance your college experience. Visit your campus Army ROTC representative today. To find out how you can earn up to a full tuition scholarship, visit goarmy.com/podcast to locate your closest ROTC program today. Army officers inspire, strengthen others. Paid for by the United States Army.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And I wonder, take
Wednesday, my dude.
Otherwise known as Chat Lives Matter Night Live right here on KLRradio.com. It's been a short week for me because I've had house stuff going on, etc. But we're back. We're live, and I am somewhat using new equipment. Apparently, I'm missing an adapter to make the new board talk to the computer. So, new mic, same board. Settings are kind of weird, but I sound a lot cleaner in my own ears, so I'm hoping it sounds cleaner to everybody else. Anyway, so I'm one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. She's the other half, Miss Stacey Lennox, and we do this thing every Wednesday night, usually at around 7 p.m. Eastern, and then this is the Whatever Show. And just off the top of my head, so far I know, according to the left, Alito's a traitor, Fauci's a martyr, and apparently the FBI wanted to shoot Trump, but whatever. Anyway, so how are you, Stacey?
Oh, I'm fine. The news is such that I'm having a hard time even keeping up with it anymore.
Yeah, it was like, so, you know.
What I do know, however,
comma,
is that when Clay Travis and Piers Morgan are put in the same bucket, we might be in an alternate universe.
Well, so there's some things about Clay Travis that I didn't really know. Like, he came onto the talk radio scene a few years ago, and I didn't really know that much about him. I had no idea that up until a few years ago, he was like, I always voted Democrat until like 8 years ago. And I was like, that's interesting. But yeah,
but then he's the one. Don't you remember he got shut down on CNN because he said he believed in the First Amendment and boobs?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Okay, yeah, I think he started to feel a little pinched on the scoldy left, and so like many, relatively moderate, socially liberal people, he's like, yeah, screw this. Did you hear Bill Maher on Greg Gutfeld the other night?
I have it recorded, but I haven't watched it yet. I knew he was going to be on there, and I planned on watching it, but like I said,
I saw it. I saw snippets of it as I was doing something else, and I'm like, I got to go back and see that whole thing. But I'm like, okay, now I've got Clay Travis and Piers Morgan both being accused of transphobia. And I've got Greg Gutfeld and Bill Maher sharing a stage. Like, I'm just...
I blame CERN. I'm just saying. I blame CERN.
What has happened to my universe?
This is all CERN's fault. They fired up the collider again on the same day that we had an eclipse. That was bad. That should have never happened. That was some sort of like world-ending, universe-splitting thing that they've done, and we're just now starting to understand the consequences because... things that don't make sense are happening all the time now. Yeah, anyway.
Cooper? That's a no.
So apparently,
No,
apparently, according to the chat, a $400 microphone makes a world of difference. I'm just saying. Although I'm still glad I upgraded the board, because like I said, to make this one work right, I have the volume knob completely gained up. And I don't have to do that on the other board, because... that's the weird thing. Everything works on the other board. I can hear it. Everything works, but I just can't get it to talk to the computer because I'm missing one little bitty piece. And I can't even really blame the people that sent me the stuff because I'm the one that did the bundle and I didn't know it needed it. So otherwise I'd be like, hey, I'm missing something. But anyway. But yeah. So
I know nothing about the technological side of this. I've never produced. I don't think I'm qualified to produce.
I wasn't qualified to produce either, and the jury's still out as to whether I am or not. I can put out a successful show, but whether I'm qualified to do it or not is a completely different story. But anyway, but yeah, so I've been kind of unplugged, and I didn't wind up doing the afternoon show today because I've been fighting with the Rodecaster that I have completely set up and just don't have connected to the computer yet. But I was like, you know what, screw it. We have pulled out the unit that Al was nice enough to let me use that I will eventually be gifting probably to Andrew with one of my other microphones when I don't actually have to use it as a backup anymore. Like I said, it's working. I had fancy new toys and now I can't use them yet. I'm sad. Anyway, okay, I'm over it now.
Well,
sort of.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. You didn't do it.
I know, but I'm just like, dun, dun, dun. So since the last time we've been on the air, like the NFL decide being Catholic wasn't okay, but like getting charges dropped for assault is like something worthy celebrating, I guess. I don't know. I just can't believe the absolute freak out to Butker's speech at a Catholic. I mean, he's Catholic, and he was speaking at a Catholic college, and he made a very Catholic speech. And apparently that was world-ending. Did I get that right?
Apparently.
I mean, and then the NFL, like, essentially disowns him, right? When 50% of their freaking roster is on for, like, drug driving, drugs, fighting, assault, spousal abuse. I mean, are you kidding me? Somebody literally goes up and says, I love women. I love my wife. I think a lot of women want to have children. If you want to stay home and raise a family, you do that because that's good work. That's a problem. But beating your wife is not. Okay. All right. Once again, backwards universe, people. Completely backwards.
Oh, wait. Sorry. My bad.
And then I was listening, and I'm hearing about this P. Diddy video. And now they're saying Diddy is CIA?
I mean, you know, they're I mean,
it sounds like he was the Epstein of the freaking rap world. He had cameras in every room, and he's got tape on like everybody.
I mean, would it really surprise you though? I mean, because we already know the CIA does those kind of things. Hello, Epstein.
I listened to Jason Whitlock on Glenn Beck yesterday saying he believes all of the rappers are CIA. He believes the entire rap movement is CIA because nobody as dumb and talentless as Cardi B could be as popular as she is unless she was CIA.
Oh, come on. I mean,
it's essentially what the conversation boiled down to.
I mean, come on. Who doesn't like listening to a crazy woman rap about WAP? I'm just saying.
Well, come on. No, the best part of that was Ben Shapiro's rendition of it. Which, if you have never heard Ben Shapiro do WAP, you have to go look it up on the internet.
Maybe.
And then he gets with Tom, what's his name, and has the #1 downloaded rap song on iTunes after mocking rap for years. It was so epic. It was so epic.
So much fun.
Huh?
I said so much fun.
This is when you know the side you're on has become the counterculture. Like, all of a sudden, it's the counterculture to think being Jewish is okay. Like, the weirdest things are, like, subversive now.
But Stacey, everyone knows
like, I'm okay with the Jews.
But Stacey, everyone knows the Jews are trying to take over the world. Don't you pay attention?
Oh, my God. The dumbest thing I've heard in the last couple months is somebody telling me that Netanyahu did October 7th.
Oh.
I'm like, why? Because he didn't want to be prime minister anymore? You realize the chances of him being reelected because of this security failure are somewhere between slim and none, right?
Oh.
That makes no sense. In a world where anybody has any kind of self-preservation sort of instinct, that makes no sense. And then they told me that Epstein was definitely Mossad, and that Epstein was the vehicle through which the Israeli government owns the U.S. government. And I'm like, you really think the U.S. would put up with that by not returning the favor with Israeli? Like, what are you even talking about? That can't just go one way in the Western world. That's not how anything works.
Well, I mean,
I said I would be much more open to the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was actually CIA. And that was the intelligence community's bid to have control over our elected officials so that the spooks could actually run the country. Because I think that's what's going on.
Well, no, that's exactly what's going on. I mean, it's not just Epstein. Maxwell, I mean, look at Maxwell's family tree. This has been something that's been postulated for a long time. But going back to what you were talking about a second ago about the whole Netanyahu allowed October 7th to happen or was behind it, that's actually been a narrative pushed since October the 8th, because everybody's like, there's no way they didn't know this was going to happen, with as good as their intelligence is. And I'm sorry, there are things that even they are going to miss. I don't know Netanyahu personally. I'm not going to try to pretend that I do. But having watched the man for most of the time that I've been involved in politics, I can't imagine him letting something like this happen just because, well, now the Jewish people are galvanized, and 5 minutes before that they were looking to get rid of him. No, they weren't. He'd already come back from that. He already lost the seat once and then got it back because the person that they thought was going to do a better job didn't. About to be probably.
Well, he also made the entire population like a live experiment for Pfizer, and he didn't handle COVID particularly well.
I'm
not sure where the population that was in the death camps with all the medical experimentation decided, oh, let's conduct a nationwide medical experiment in the homeland was a good idea. Not sure how we went from A to B, but apparently they ended it. So anyway, I don't buy for 1 minute that Bibi Netanyahu engineered this. Yes, Bibi Netanyahu engineered this and somehow made a bunch of Hamas soldiers take Israelis back to the tunnel. Like that, I can't even with the logic.
Well,
not that everything in the world happens is logical, but I don't understand how we would still have Israelis and Americans in Gaza and Iran if Bibi engineered it. So that means Bibi's working with the Palestinians? I don't know. I got really confused, and when I asked these questions, it just progressed from there.
Well, so this type of narrative, though, is not new, because this was one of the things that everybody, a few years after the fact with Pearl Harbor and everything else, everybody started floating the idea that it was allowed to happen on purpose to pull us into the war. And I never bought that argument either. But this is an argument that has happened before and will likely happen again, provided we don't destroy ourselves in the next few years, because that's just the way we are. It's like, well, there's no way that they didn't know that giant fleet was coming across and blah, 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 just like the same thing they're saying about Israel now. But I don't know. To me, it's just all insane because, and the thing that trips me up about all this is going back to when you and I were doing Kung Flu Spew, and we were talking about all the things that we now know are true, that, hydroxychloroquine actually worked, social distancing was stupid, masking was stupid, pretty much every precaution they told us to take for COVID was panacea and wasn't actually going to do anything. But people lost their livelihoods, their licenses, all of the above over it. Now you've got Fauci still acting like he's some sort of national hero, when in reality that man's always been a douche. Always.
Oh, since the AIDS crisis.
Yeah, I was telling somebody that, because they didn't know that he had done experimentation on dogs and specifically on beagles, and they were like, he did what? I was like, no. Anyway, and I get it. Sometimes some scientists have done really bad things for what history later views as really good reasons, but this is not one of those people. He basically changed the entire definition of what gain-of-function studies were to allow them to continue to do gain-of-function studies, and then moved everything offshore and overseas so that we had no direct accountability for anything that he was doing. And the fact that now behind closed doors, he's basically said, well, yeah, we knew masking wouldn't work, but we had to tell him something. And that 6 feet thing, we kind of pulled that out of our asses too. I was like, and with what my brother's going through right now, which again, doctors will not confirm this, but I am 95% sure it has something to do with him getting the COVID vaccine, because he is 8 years younger than me and in much worse health than me. And I have been through a lot more shit than him. I'm just saying.
Well, now we've got Fauci's underling deleting and calling emails that showed the culpability of Peter Daszak. and Eagle Health Alliance. I am glad, finally, they're saying the U.S. government will no longer give Peter Daszak any money. Thank God. They never should have given him any money in the first place. The entire idea that they're going to go stick Q-tips up the asses of bats and other animals and pull out viruses and then play with them to see what they would be able to do if it actually was able to infect a human by making it able to infect humanized lung cells seems like a really bad idea to me.
Yeah.
So people like Peter Daszak and Anthony Fauci that have this complex that feel the need to play God, kind of thankful they shouldn't be buying green bananas. And somebody's got to go to jail at this point. And it's probably going to be the underling that hid the emails.
Well, all I'm going to say about all of that, well, actually, I was going to say something. I don't know what just happened. I lost my train of thought. That doesn't happen very often. Anyway, it'll probably come back to me in a minute. Sorry. Train of thought, derailed, track 1. Not used to that, so it's kind of confusing me. It does not happen to me that often. Damn it. It was a salient point, too, and I can't think of it now. All right, anyway. Moving on.
Moving on. Oh, but did you hear? What's his nuts? He was head of the CDC. On the TV the other day, saying, well, we know some people have problems with the vaccine. He's talking to Chris Cuomo, who's, found Jesus on the jab. And he's like, oh, yeah, we know some people. But if you were a lone voice in the wilderness, excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
the lone voices in the wilderness were Dr. Robert Malone, were Dr. Peter McCullough, were Dr. Pierre Corey. All the people who lost their careers, the poor dude, Dr. Ryan Cole, who's lost almost everything. Lost his business, almost lost his house, in danger of losing his license in a state he's not even practicing in out in.
Uh-oh. Did we lose you?
Not even sure he ever dealt with a patient out there. Some random dude filed a complaint with the Oregon board.
Yeah,
excuse me, what is that dude's name? He was head of the CDC, and I just lost it. Man, I wrote about these people for ages. Anyway, he was right there with Dr. Scarf and Dr. Anyway, Dr. Fauci.
Is he still the head of the CDC? Or you're talking about one of the former ones?
No, he left. He was a Trump appointee. He got replaced by that stupid woman from Boston who joked about just deciding with her friend in North Carolina to shut down national sports and stuff.
Oh, you're talking about Redfield, aren't you?
Yes, thank you. I could see him. I'm like, I know.
Because I know his replacement was Walensky, and now she's already gone, and then there's somebody else stepped in a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like.
But he's literally on with Chris Cuomo saying, "Oh yeah, I know people that are sick themselves. I think it did save some elderly people, but on balance, we've got to recognize that it really hurt some people." What?
Oh, so much fun.
It's just like, and now, there were two things that came out of the pandemic that could impact human health beyond words. One of them was monoclonal antibodies, and the other one was ivermectin. Ivermectin may have a role in treating cancer, okay? Monoclonal antibodies has shown they can be effective at treating cancer. And what are we going to pour all of our research dollars into? Freaking mRNA, which actually turns off your toll-like receptors, which are part of the sentinel system that scans for cancer, but it's going to cure cancer.
Let me check something real quick.
Unreal.
So far?
Huh?
Guess what I found?
What?
A clip of Maron Gutfeld.
Really?
Yep. You want to run it?
Sure, why not?
I was going to say...
I'll be reacting in live time.
Well, since it's kind of long, we'll just run this and skip the break. Because it's like 10 minutes worth, but we can just run this instead of the break.
So fun?
I have a few quibs.
Okay, go for it. Quib away, Mr. Quib.
Well, I mean, I agree that it's great that we're talking. I agree that we agree on some things. We're not exactly aligned on the most important things, which is basically Trump is someone who does not concede elections. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
You don't seem to see it that way. That's the most important thing that's going on in this country. He didn't concede the last election. He's not going to concede this election.
You don't know that. You don't see into the future, Bill. I don't see your crystal ball.
Yeah, I did, because I was the only one who was talking about that way back when. And everybody said, oh, you smoke too much pot. Turned out I smoked just the right amount of pot.
There's no right amount.
But can you really picture this guy going, you know what? I lost. That's it.
He did. He left.
He left because he had to leave, because he couldn't.
Yes, but that's how it works.
Well,
what do you think he's going to board up the White House? Pull a straw dogs with Dustin Hoffman?
Well, last time he thought the other Republicans would back him up when he called that guy in Georgia and said, "I need 11,000 votes. I want you to find."
He said find. He didn't say create. He said find.
Well, that's the same thing.
No, it's not. You don't say on an Easter egg hunt, I want you to create some Easter eggs.
We have a show here.
All right, Dr. Drew.
Okay. Boys. I mean, my
Point
favorite
of
show
personal privilege.
television ever to do was Politically Incorrect.
Which you stole. This is exactly what it looked like, except the difference was Politically Incorrect was purposely mixing people with different viewpoints.
Which is what we're doing
tonight.
Yes. This is why it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No.
So, Dr. Drew.
Yes, sir.
You're really good at diagnosing mental illness.
Okay.
What is Bill's problem?
Oh my God, I didn't know Dr. Drew was on
so
too.
far, I found it a good conversation. I think Greg.
I guess it's another one of those ones that's going to be mostly somebody else talking about the clip, so I guess we're done with the clip. This is what I get for not proofing stuff before I play
Okay,
it.
but where is Gutfeld going? Well, Hillary's never conceded 2016.
No, I get it.
Why doesn't somebody throw that right back at Bill?
Well, they have before.
She still hasn't conceded 2016.
Well, the problem is, and this is the part that the left climbs onto, is she did actually concede the next day, and then she walked it back like 5 minutes later. But the thing about it is, and my point, if I were Gutfeld, the point that I would have made is when Bill Maher said...
Stacey Abrams.
Well, yeah, but my point to Maher would have been when he said, well, he left because he had to. No, he didn't actually have to. That's how an insurrection works. You find someone in the chain of command who's willing to do what you tell them to do, and you have them shoot everyone else. That's an insurrection. He didn't do that. He left. That's how a coup works. That's how an insurrection works. That's how a dictatorship starts. You find someone in the chain who says, I will do whatever you want me to do, Mr. President. What would you like me to do? I'm staying here. You shoot everyone that tries to stop me. That's an insurrection. That didn't happen. He left. It doesn't matter whether he conceded or not, because he left. If he didn't willingly leave, if he actually attempted to do to the White House what they did to the Chaz Zone in Seattle, that would have been an insurrection. He didn't do that. He even left before checkout time, like they do every time. Because you're basically in a 4-year hotel stay at the White House. And when the new guy is coming in, you have to be out by 11 a.m. that day, or else. And he did it. And unlike Clinton, they didn't go through and trash a bunch of shit. They didn't remove all the W's from all the keyboards. They didn't do anything. They just left. So it wasn't an insurrection. I don't mind that nobody says, well, Hillary never really conceded either, because technically she did, then she walked it back. My point is, I'm tired of them saying, well, they only left because he had to. He was the one in charge of everything. And literally, if he wanted to, could have found someone, even if it was a sergeant, that said, you keep me in this position and you're my new head of military. And that would have been it, because that's how it's happened every other time in history. If there's been a government that has been overthrown from within, it's the guy at the top talking to somebody who has ambitions that specifically says,
and it's never the generals.
You do this and it's yours. And it's never the people at the top. That's the part that
never the generals.
That's the part that nobody else wants to talk about either. It's somebody who wants to be a general, who has delusions of grandeur, that listens to the leader of the country saying, if you do this, then you are my new top guy. And they do everything they can to make that happen. If that had happened, whether it was on January 6th or January 21st, that would have been an insurrection. We didn't have an insurrection. We still don't.
No, we did not. We had a riot.
And
unfortunately,
we had months of riots
which
in
did
2016.
not hold a candle to the Summer of Love in 2020.
Or the leftist rage in 2017. I mean, the entire country was on fire from like November 6th, 2016 till January 22nd of 2017. And then for months after that still.
I see this thing going on, and it's impossible for me not to see. And part of it is because when I did all the research into Ukraine, when Trump was impeached, because something about it was just not right. It just wasn't right. Do you know what I mean? First, it was a complete setup with that Biden dude telling and the Vindmans and all this. I mean, it was just such crap to begin with. And Adam Schiff, I mean, it was just sleazy, right? So that was the number one thing. But then I go out and I start hearing it. I start understanding all of these color revolutions. So you really got to watch the timeline of Michael McFaul, because he's like the color revolution dude along with Victoria Nuland. Like Arab Spring was our fault. Like some stuff going on in South America has been our fault. Like we just find a government we don't want in power anymore, and then we whip people up, and then there's a revolution, and hopefully like something better and more. I mean, it's awful. It's awful. I hate that they do this in our name, and I think we need to stop them. But it's what they do. I think they're actually going to try to do it here, but backwards.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
if you look at the 7 steps, right?
Yeah.
Well, they could do it either way, actually, and that's what scares me even more. So if you look at a typical color revolution, there's a relatively semi-unpopular, semi-autocratic leader in charge, and you have enough people, enough ways and means of information to get out information, make people believe election was stolen, and you've divided the like government and the police power from one another. I mean, there's a whole 7-step thing, and we were at 6 in 2020. We could very easily be at 7 now, after having 4 years of General Milley and Lloyd Austin. But so you're doing that for the guy that's in power, except the guy that's in power right now is the person they want to be in power, or the party they want to be in power after the revolution, right? So what they've actually cultivated in this case is a right-wing media milieu that can convince the right wing that the election was stolen and make the right wing freak out January 6th style nationwide, and then bring the hammer down on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all been in the same playbook.
Yeah, but normally it's the other way around. The person they want to be in power is on the outside. So I think it's going to look different this time, but it's going to be the same thing.
I mean, all the pieces.
Because if you go out there with the rhetoric that if this person elected, it's the last election in this nation, our entire system will go to hell. It'll be the end of the republic, right? Donald Trump, who's already been president and did not end the republic, will clearly end the republic this time. I mean, that clears the doors for you to do anything and everything right up to and including assassination.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing, right? And
you're talking about literally Hitler.
Exactly. But that's the other thing that kind of, and granted, it broke yesterday while I was completely out of pocket, and I know, from doing research myself that it was kind of boilerplate, but it seemed really, really, really weird to me that First of all, that there was a search warrant served at all when it should have been done by subpoena, but then finding out that the warrant had the standard boilerplate about deadly use of force is authorized against a former president with Secret Service detail. To me, and I get it, it's standard paperwork. I understand that. I've done law enforcement, but I didn't really do the whole serving warrant side because I never went in plain clothes or anything like that, so it wasn't anything that I was ever really involved in to that detail. But the thing that just kind of set really, really weird with me is I'm like, couldn't the FBI have just reached out to his detail and been like, this is what we're looking for and we're coming to get it? They're both law enforcement. His detail is still technically law enforcement. The whole thing just seems weird to me. It's almost like they were trying to get everything ginned up to the point where they were hoping that they were going to start shooting each other. See, we told you he was a traitor. Look what he had his detail do. His detail is not going to shoot at FBI. Some of them came from the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, the whole thing just seems really, really, all of this just seems really, really stupid to me. Especially after watching this trial in New York City, the second trial in New York, that is just a clown show. I mean, it became more about, not the fact that he supposedly hid campaign funds, etc., which he didn't actually do, or used campaign funds to pay off a porn star. It became about what position did they use and how many times did they use it. And even Bill Maher is calling out Stormy Daniels at this point because he's like, everything she just said on the stand is not what she said to me in 2018, and I have a clip. Because that was back when Me Too was a thing. And she's like, yeah, they keep trying to get me to do the whole Me Too thing, and I'm not going to do that because it was consensual. And he's like, well, why would you do that? And she's like, I don't know. But yeah, on the stand, she's like, I was shaking, and he trapped me, and I didn't really want to. And I'm like, that's not what you said 6 years ago. And the thing that really pisses me off about all of this, we're talking about an affair that happened 18 years ago at this point. How is it still relevant? Especially...
Allegedly.
Well, that's the other thing. Allegedly, because, the other thing the media started, you've got guys that are basically creaming their pants describing how awesome she is and how stoic she was. You also have to remember this woman already lost a lawsuit and owes him money at this point that he's never going to see. It's nuts that this is the country that we live in. These are the things that we made fun of other countries for doing. Using the media to go after people, using the legal system to go after people, trying to put people under the jail rather than in the jail. These are the things that we made fun of other countries for doing. These are also, as you said a moment ago, the things that we used to use people like Soros and others like him to do these things in other countries to destabilize them enough to hopefully bring them democracy. And now it's being flipped against us, and nobody seems to want to notice or to care.
Well, there's people who care, and there's people who just don't follow any of this close enough to realize things happen very slowly and then very quickly, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be some people who don't notice until we get to the quickly part.
Well, by then it may be too late.
Well, yeah. But, we're going to run out of gasoline. Biden's putting more gasoline out into the market from the strategic gas reserves, not the oil reserves, the gas reserves in the Northeast to try to calm down gas prices ahead of an election. There's certain things a president should be disallowed from doing.
That's one of them.
If he's trying to get reelected. Forgiving student loan debt should be one of them. Really. And so should, releasing strategic oil and gas. That just seems so blatant and so corrupt that it's disgusting. Maybe the president should never be allowed to do that without concurrence from Congress. Because Congress can declare war. Congress funds the military, it would seem to me that the people's representatives should have a say in our national security and military readiness, of which the gasoline reserves and the oil reserves are part of. Like, this just can't be something that just the president can do.
Well, I mean, and it shouldn't be anyway. I mean, I never really have understood how it is that a president can tap into things like that. I mean, unless we're in an actual declared time of war, that might be different. But everything else, as far as I'm concerned, should need to go through Congress. That's just like with the president refusing to refill them after he promised that he was going to. Again, that should be a decision made by Congress, not the president, because Congress controls the purse strings. That's how it's always been, especially the House side of Congress. They control the purse strings more than any other. The Senate has a little bit of say in it, but the House side controls most of it. And then they basically reconcile the bills and try to meet in the middle most of the time, and except for lately, because lately you're going to do things our way or else for everybody. But I don't know. I just know that, again, even though the Supreme Court told him no, apparently, President Puddinhead's about to forgive more student loan debt.
Already did. It was a done deal when we woke up this morning.
Yeah, maybe I was reading about it before I dozed off last night and thought it hadn't happened yet, but anyway.
So, apparently, Nikki Haley will be voting for Trump.
Oh, yeah, she made that announcement earlier today. Surprising literally no one.
Bill Kristol, hardest hit.
Yeah, Captain Stupid can suck it. I'm just saying.
So
I'm so tired. I'm so tired of outraging.
Bombshell that came out today?
Which one?
The one where the CIA told Biden's assistant prosecutor that they couldn't look into Hunter Biden's sugar daddy.
Whoops. No, I hadn't heard that, but holy crap.
Oh, yeah. Basically, the IRS whistleblowers finally came out and showed that Hunter Biden had repeatedly lied to congressional investigators, but also the CIA told U.S. District Attorney Leslie Wolf told the CIA told her to tell investigators they could not pursue Hunter Biden's sugar daddy, Kevin Morris, based on the information she received from the CIA.
Well, that's not suspicious at all.
No, it's not suspicious at all. These documents also, this is a report, a congressional report. These documents also confirm again that the IRS whistleblowers have been telling the truth all along and include another example of the Department of Justice putting up roadblocks to this investigation. For example, included in the materials before us are documents showing that previously released summaries from investigators, prior exhibits 300 and 301 were accurate. In 2021, U.S. District Attorney Leslie Wolf told investigators they could not pursue Hollywood lawyer Kevin Morris as a witness based on information she received from the CIA. Investigators were never provided the same information that AUSA Wolf received and additional context regarding Hunter Biden's involvement with the CEFC.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, what's up with Kevin Morris?
It sounds like he's...
So, if the IRS couldn't call him as a witness, can Congress?
It sounds like he's a CIA asset.
If the Department of Justice and the IRS can't call him as a witness, can Congress? I think so.
I would like to know the answer to that question.
I think so.
But
they called Devin Archer.
But this just leads me to another question that I've been asking on other shows, mainly Juxtaposition. How far has the CIA infiltrated our entire government at this point? And they're not supposed to do that. I mean, when you've got...
Well, they're not supposed to do anything domestically.
Well, that's not entirely true either, because nobody realizes this, and I don't think anybody has really. And the only thing that clued me in on it was a show from USA at the time called Covert Affairs. When the Patriot Act got passed, There was a section of that basically made part of one of the CIA divisions the Domestic Protection Initiative.
Oh, that's why they have to keep passing it. Not really about terrorism.
Oh, no, it's about being able to,
It's about the intel agencies running our government.
Pretty much. But yeah, it didn't even...
And see, the only person who truly gets that is RFKJ.
Yep. It's too bad he's nuts.
There's so much about him I do like, and then there's just reasons I could never vote for him.
Yeah,
I
unfortunately.
think he's the only one of the current candidates that is going to give us COVID accountability. So my hope would be that Donald Trump would reach across the aisle and say, dude, come run HHS, fix it. You know what I mean?
Something.
Get him in there. Just get him in there and get him fixing things. Give us our medical freedom back.
I want them to find a way to give him the authority to not just fix HHS, but basically to dismantle the espionage state that we have right now.
Yeah. Excuse me, RFKJ, could you possibly, in the next 4 years, go dismantle the bureaucracy? Because that would be great.
I mean, every Democratic president creates the czar positions, and everybody rolls their eyes. I think it's time for Trump to make one.
Yeah, we're gonna make RFKJ the blow up the bureaucracy czar.
I would sign on to that in a heartbeat.
I would sign on to it in blood.
I wouldn't go that far, because then it sounds a lot like a
Faucian
deal.
Thomas Massey's so cute. He's so funny. He says, "Would you support me in a bill? Should I put in a bill to basically eliminate the Fed?" I'm like, yes.
Yes, you should.
There are some of us who have thought that forever, my friend.
Yes, you should, and you should have done that yesterday. Just saying.
Yes, you should have done that yesterday and the day before yesterday and the day before that. It's not going to pass, but we should do it every day until it does.
Well, that's like, and this is something that I'm kind of ashamed to admit, because I do love history. But I remember, because I have a lot of libertarian friends, and I remember their whole taxation is theft thing, and I remember them talking about how federal income tax was technically unconstitutional. Unfortunately, when you research it, you find out it might have been once, but it's not now. So it's just one of those things of, I would like all of it dismantled, and I would like the Fed gone. I would like the progressive income tax to be abolished. I would especially like us to find something to tie our currency to again, so eventually it could be worth something again. But unfortunately, none of those things are going to happen, and it's something that I've talked about for nearly 3 weeks on the afternoon show when I relaunched it as the afternoon show, going through piece by piece and talking about all the different ways that progressivism has infiltrated our government to the point where that is why our money is slowly becoming less and less of value. That is why we have this tax code that we never should have had in the first place. And another reason why it's as monstrous as it is because when the Republicans figured out they screwed up, they started trying to make ways for people to understand how they could get all their money back. But as we don't teach people about these things anymore, nobody understands how to use it. And unless you've got the money to pay high-priced attorneys and accountants and everything else, you're probably never going to know completely how to use it. But if you could do those things, you would get almost all of your money back because there's so many things baked into the tax code. Unfortunately, in the last 4 years, Joe Biden has started systematically removing those things and making it harder for people to found businesses and everything else. I'm still fighting red tape on the new LLC that I'm trying to get put together because they're like, oh, now we've hit this hurdle, but it'll be done in another week. I'm like, that's good because I already paid you. Anyway.
Here's something super disturbing.
What's that?
A valedictorian at Harvard University's Kennedy School of Public Policy is wearing a keffiyeh at graduation around his shoulders and talking about Harvard's complicity in the ongoing Nakba in Palestine. Okay, that's where all of the State Department people come from. That needs to end. Like, the State Department is a snake's. Ugh. Foggy Bottom needs. I don't know that if our RFKJ can fix that, but it needs to be fixed. And apparently Pompeo didn't do it.
Apparently not. But, what do I know? I'm just an old cranky man who talks into a microphone.
No, I know, but and all this nonsense with condolences for the butcher of Tehran.
I still think it's funny that they called that a hard landing. When you can't walk away from it, it's not a landing.
It's not a landing. It's a crash. Say it with me. Crash.
I mean, that's the whole point of that saying, is any landing you can walk away from is still technically a landing. When you can't walk away from it, it's not a landing anymore, and it's not a hard landing either. It is a crash. And all I'm saying is, this is the one time Boeing's DEI stuff might have done us a favor. Oh, wait, did I say that out loud? My bad.
We know it's a Boeing helicopter?
Apparently it was, at least according to a bunch of memes I saw going around.
You're hoping that would.
You must be traveling again.
It's neither here nor there. What we had the UN on the soil of these United States of America, putting the flag at half-mast in his honor. Anthony Blinken's department sent out some kind of bizarre condolence. I'm pretty sure after the hostages were taken, back when I was a kid, we didn't really mourn when the leaders in Iran died or met. That would have been the UN holding a flag at half-mast when we set Soleimani in a box. What the hell? These people are insane.
Well, I mean, we already knew that, though. I think Stacy has out-traveled her connection.
No, I didn't out-travel. I had a Skype warning. That was weird. It went boop, boop.
Yeah, it did that on my end, too. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, cool.
You got weather, my friend?
No weather for me.
Yeah. I actually worked really hard to get into a school that's considered the Ivy League, and now I regret it.
It's when you just put on if you have to put out your resume again. I went here before it was woke.
I don't know that it wasn't. Well, it was just beginning to be woke, because I can remember going into one of my classes with a newly minted PhD who was a diversity candidate. And we had a case study, right? And it was about a bank, and they'd implemented a new computer system. And 6 months later, some of the employees still refused to use it. Well, unlike most of the people apparently who go for a graduate degree in the Ivy League system, I had actually had work experience. I'd been a supervisor. I'd done some of this stuff, right? And so the professor, well, what should management do? I raised my hand. I said, there's 3 questions. Have they had the time? Have they had the tools? Have they had the training? If the answer to all 3 of those questions is yes, you move to performance management, which is exactly what you do. And she goes, well, seems like you might belong over at the Johnson School of Business. Okay, then. No, we had to coddle these people 6 months later or something. I'm like, no, that's not how businesses operate. That's not what happens. Well, it might happen now, but it didn't happen then. I lose you again?
No, I'm here. I was just apparently it was not a Boeing helicopter. It was a Bell 212. So.
Well, apparently there was a problem with a Boeing 777.
Oh, there's been tons of problems with a Boeing 777. That's why I'm glad I don't work for Southwest Airlines anymore, because that's most of their fleet.
Oh, good. What? Just in, 300 Boeing planes used by United and American Airlines have a potentially fatal fault that could cause jets to explode mid-air in latest blow for scandal hit company, from the Daily Mail.
This is why I won't fly right now. If I go anywhere, I'm driving for the near future.
Delta? Just in, up to 300 American and United Boeing 777s have potentially fatal flaws that could cause fuel tanks to explode mid-air, the FAA says. This news comes just days after a man was killed and dozens injured after a sudden drop in extreme turbulence aboard a 777.
Yeah. I'm telling you, weird things are going on, like things that I don't understand. Like I remember, I mean, that's like the Boeing whistleblower testimony in DC, where dude's talking about how he was watching them jump up and down on sections to get them to fit into place, and I'm like, that's still gonna that's not, you can't do that. I mean, I don't know that much about airplane manufacturing, but I know you can't do that.
Apparently you can.
No, because that's why things are falling off now.
I'm just saying, like, okay, so is it really... This is the FAA saying, is this all part of climate change and you're not going to be able to fly anymore? Like, that's the other thing. Why is this happening? Is it happening because Boeing's really a shit company? Or is it happening because... Yeah, you little peons, not so much. You're not going to be flying. Because 300 planes, they're bad.
Well, so let's
like how are two major international airlines in the middle of the effing summer going to ground 300 planes and have anything happen? Like nobody's going to be moving. Like vacations are going to be canceled. You can't fly those planes once you're aware of the defect. You can't.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's happening on purpose, and I think you just hit the nail on the head. Unfortunately, we're about out of time, so we can't really go too much further into it. But
you go on nothing and be happy.
Exactly. But I mean, think about it. You've got the stuff going on with Boeing, all while Joe Biden is attacking the airline industry by going after supposed junk fees and everything else. This is all part of the same thing. They don't want you traveling. They don't want you flying. And when they can get you to stop flying, that's when they're going to completely go after your car. And then you're going to own the type of car that they can tell you have to own. And that they can flick off with a switch so that they can force you to live in 15-minute cities.
So in other words, which they're clearly building all around me. Like, I literally have a town directly to the south of me in Woodstock, where now in downtown Woodstock, people get around and get to where they need to go in golf carts.
Yep.
I'm like, no, thank you. No.
But yeah, in Georgia, let that part sink in. Anyway, we are just...
In Georgia, in a county that went 70% for Trump.
Scary. Anyway, we are officially out of time. Where can folks find you?
Folks can find me at Scott's Fire on Twitter, and for some reason, people are picking up tweets I made in like 2019 and 2021. Stop that, people. They're not relevant.
But they're still funny.
Don't ask me questions about them either. I have no idea why I said it.
All right, folks, you know where to find me. I will be coming up next here in just a little bit. Just going to get things reset. G has requested the night off, so we're going to change things up. Because that was already going to be live next hour anyway, so... All right, we'll see you guys on the other side of the break.